The conversation started during a community event when I met a thoughtful Christian named Daniel. He had an air of calm wisdom and a way of making profound ideas feel simple. Somehow the topic turned to violence, specifically the challenges of living in a world that seems to constantly demand it. Daniel told me, "There's a reason Jesus taught us to turn the other cheek. It's not just about morality, it's also about protection. Violence is one of the easiest ways for people in power to manipulate you." I was intrigued. "What do you mean by manipulation through violence?" Daniel leaned forward. "Look at history. Governments, elites, criminals, they all have one thing in common. They understand that violence is a powerful tool. But here's the thing, they often don't fight their own battles. They convince others to do it for them." He gave examples, starting with governments. Wars are often sold to the public as noble causes, protecting freedom, securing justice, or defending the homeland. But how many times have we learned later that those wars were about power, resources, or money? Leaders manipulate emotions like fear, anger, and patriotism to get people to fight battles that don't truly serve their interests. Even criminals and manipulators use violence, Daniel continued. They provoke conflicts, pit people against each other, and reap the benefits while others bear the cost. Daniel brought up religion's unique perspective on violence. One of the most misunderstood teachings of Christianity is the call to nonviolence. When Jesus said to turn the other cheek, it wasn't about being weak, it was about breaking the cycle of violence. He knew that once you engage in violence, you're playing someone else's game. He pointed out that this teaching aligns with what we know about human psychology. When you respond to violence with more violence, it escalates. Each side feels justified, and the cycle becomes self-sustaining. By refusing to engage, you take away the power of manipulation. You can't be controlled through fear if you refuse to act out of fear. I asked Daniel why he thought so many people still fall into the trap of violence. "Because it's easy," he said simply. "It's easy to act on anger or fear. It's easy to believe someone who tells you that violence is the solution to your problems, and sometimes they'll even use religion to justify it. How many wars have been fought in the name of God? But here's the truth. God doesn't need us to fight for him. He asks us to love, forgive, and protect life, not destroy it." Daniel made an important distinction. "Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you should never act. Self-defense is different. Protecting yourself, your family, and your loved ones is a moral duty. But even then, the goal isn't to harm, it's to protect. Violence should always be the last resort, never the first." He shared a personal story about a time he was confronted by someone trying to provoke him. "They wanted me to react with anger, to escalate the situation. Instead, I stayed calm, de-escalated, and walked away. By choosing peace, I avoided becoming part of their game. And let me tell you, the freedom that comes with that choice is incredible." Daniel described what he called the peaceful warrior mindset. Choosing peace doesn't mean being passive in the sense of doing nothing. It means being active in a different way, standing firm in your values, refusing to be manipulated, and using wisdom to navigate conflicts. He cited examples like Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., who used nonviolence to achieve profound change. Their strength came from their refusal to play the game of violence. They showed that true power lies in restraint, not aggression. I asked Daniel how someone could adopt this mindset in today's world. He offered these steps. Recognize manipulation. Be critical of who's asking you to fight and why. What's their agenda? Stay grounded in faith. Remember the teachings of Jesus or your moral foundation. Use it as a compass. Practice self-control. Violence often comes from impulsive reactions. Train yourself to pause and think. Prioritize dialogue. Many conflicts can be resolved through understanding and communication. Be prepared for self-defense. If you must act, do so with the intention to protect, not destroy. Daniel ended our conversation with a powerful thought. Choosing peace might not always feel satisfying in the moment, but it pays off in the long run. It keeps you free from manipulation, it aligns you with your values, and it creates a better world for future generations. As I walked away, I felt a renewed sense of clarity. In a world that often glorifies violence, choosing peace isn't just moral, it's revolutionary.